Lost in Space review. So this is Netflix's new original series, which is based on a very old show. They brought it back as a series. It is 10 episodes of about an hour long. Some are 50, some are over an hour. Every episode is consistently around that time span. So it follows this family that is in this plan or sort of program to go to Alpha Centauri to start afresh. So they have to be tested, they have to be, perfectly able to do this. And they're sending off these families away from what's considered a dying planet in order to start anew. So with this, it follows this family, the Robinsons, as they go out and seek the stars, or, well, basically are just part of a colony program. There's a lot of other colonists involved, and it sort of builds out from there. So it follows this core group, the mother, the father, 2 daughters, and a very young son, and they kind of go on this journey, and then everything goes wrong. There's a huge problem on the ship, and everybody crash lands. I'm trying not to spoil too many aspects, but there are some things that you kind of really need to go over in order to get the whole gist of the show. So they come across a sort of alien type thing, this robot machine. They don't know what it is, what it does, but it seems to have this connection with the boy. So it really is sort of a story about a boy and his robot, and there's some sort of themes in regards to like a father figure and so forth, as his father's there, but there's a whole backstory. There are some minor flashbacks. It seems like Netflix shows really love their flashbacks, which is weird. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of like going back in time to kind of like showing things. I just kind of get tired of it, but it's fine here because that's limited in use, which is fantastic. So we're following this group and this family as they try to look for others, they try to look for supplies, and they try to survive this very hazardous planet. I mean, it's similar to Earth in the style that, you can breathe, you can move around, you're not just going to die. It's kind of livable to a degree, but it's not like the best of places to be. So they're trying to come up with a solution to reach anyone they can, and it kind of goes from there. So it's not just this family. There's actually a bit of like an ensemble around them, a grouping of people to be exact. So, you kind of see some other perspectives too. There's an engineer and this other kind of doctor lady as well. And those are the main characters. And then there's like other characters too that kind of come into the fold throughout, and they all have different things to them. But it really is core a family film and kind of dealing with their problems. Well, not a film, but a series, to be exact. So yeah, and they're just on this really gorgeous planet. I really have to say I was blown away by the special effects on this one. They really did put a good effort in. Everything looks real. The robot is so cool. The planet looks cool. You get a real sense of wonder when you look up and you see like the sky and everything in it. Well, I guess when they look up, but you get what I'm saying, right? So you get that sense of discovery and exploration, which is really exciting in this. And the planet looks so cool. There's a bunch of different terrains. It was beautifully well shot. They have some cool vehicles, and it feels sort of grounded too. Obviously the technology they have is quite a bit better than we have, but it feels like something that is obtainable in the future, and it's not something that's like, oh, this is complete fantasy. Obviously there's some realms of sci-fi to it, but it is something that, isn't out of the realms of possibility. So yeah, that was really cool. I mean, I love the sci-fi genre, and just the look of everything was quite great. I really did appreciate that style and that, again, sense of wonder. And a lot of the things that they did or tried to figure out did feel grounded. They felt kind of realistic. Obviously, you need to fix your fuel problem, and you need to fix your radar system, and you need to fix, just keep everything going, and you need to also, like, feed yourselves and supply the area. But it was very much trying to keep the action going. I thought the pacing was good. A lot of little side things going on. They could have maybe spent more time, I guess, fleshing out the characters, but you do get to see a better style over the whole thing. So I got to check out the first 5 episodes from Netflix prior to release, like a couple weeks, and then at release I've just watched through the last 5. So the first 5 are fine. They kind of get things going. You get a sense of, what the show is about, but it's really the last 5 that I feel really, really tie everything together. So the villain, the antagonist, is interesting. They kind of do a whole backstory there. I won't spoil anything in that regard, but it is sort of telegraphed a bit too much. It's like really in your face, and you lose a level of prediction. They could have maybe done a hide thing. I think they were trying to go for a show you and then show, oh, this is what they're doing kind of thing. But it might have been more fun for people to sort of figure it out by themselves as opposed to being fed the story. I just wanted a little bit more mystery because some of the elements of what happened were predictable. They should have perhaps also been a little bit darker, I think. Like, I get this is supposed to be sort of fun and more adventurous and so forth, but they had the opportunity a number of times to actually go really dark with it, and I didn't feel that they went all the way in. There's still some pretty intense scenes, but nothing too graphic or violent. Again, it's kind of gritty and realistic, but it's not too dark that any audience couldn't enjoy it. There's some slightly darker scenes, but I really do think it's nothing too bad. They don't show anything visually too graphic right away. Maybe the explosions and stuff when they're coming down, but I think it was generally fine in that regard. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of surprises for me. There was a lot of cool wonder and thoughts of exploration because I do like the idea of space and travel and so forth. I think it's eventually something we'll do, but not at this current point. And it would be really cool to get to that. Anyway, so to continue forward, the acting was good. I liked the main cast. I thought they were all well done. They all had sort of problems they had to go through and sort through, and you can actually get to see sort of character development for mostly everybody. There was like a romantic subplot that was kind of a little bit silly and underdeveloped. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. I was like, oh, this is going on, and then it's like this. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so they do kind of branch out the story, but they do a fantastic job of keeping everyone generally together, which I like. When you have such large casts, it's weird on other shows that they always split them off so much. Like I get filming wise and so forth, but it just feels unnatural, kind of like the Arrested Development kind of fourth season, I believe it was. And it's like you're only getting them in little batches, and it feels better when you have a large group that you keep them mostly together. You need the side stories to build out the characters and develop them further, but I do appreciate that they kept them largely together because it's the interactions within the groups. If the group does have a cohesive style to them, that really makes those shows and experiences. So yeah, generally they're kept together. They have lots of good action sequences as a family, but they move apart when they need to for certain other kind of ventures and so forth as they continue to explore and discover the planet. And I definitely like to see more of Lost in Space. I mean, I like the idea of it, and I like the sense of wonder, and I think perhaps that they are going to go forward with setting up more things, because it ended in an interesting way. It kind of worked towards it, and you can kind of get an idea of where things were going. Again, there's not a lot of discovery for yourself. You're really told what's happening. But I thought that was fine, and yeah, the cast was good. They they were all decent. They all interacted well. I liked some of the secondary colonists. Some of the motives felt a bit forced for some of the characters, but that was fine. And there were some dangerous segments that should have been a little bit more dangerous. They had like a really good opportunity to be quite dark in one sequence when it was like very horror-ish actually, which was kind of like chilling, and they're like, oh. And I thought that was well done. Again, going back to how well it was shot and so forth, I thought it looked just beautiful throughout the entire thing. It looked very believable in the style. I didn't have any issues where it would falter at any point visually, and I thought that was really cool. And I loved the sort of themes they were exploring. The kid and his robot and his father was there, and I thought that was interesting. It was definitely different, and I think this was largely something that's worth watching. And I wouldn't say it's an easy binge because there's so many hours to it, but it's definitely an easy watch that you can get into. And I thought generally it was cool. The vehicles, the ships, while still being grounded in reality, were fantastic. And just generally what they did was cool. I mean, I was really into it. It's not the most crazy of things, but it definitely is a decent show and it has a lot of potential going forward. I mean, the robot was really neat. And I like the idea of it because it's kind of like borderline, we've got this machine. It's like, can we trust a machine that we found? It's like, what's going on with this thing? What's its origins and so forth? And you're kind of like, you're going with it that this kid's just trying to bond with this thing, but then there's also the whole sense of the family around going, okay, we're a little bit older, we're sort of questioning what exactly this is. So yeah, Lost in Space was really good. I enjoyed it. It's fine. I'd give it a 7.2 out of 10. You can read my full review in the description below, and if you have any questions about it, let me know. I don't believe I went over any spoilers. It is a very interesting show. I thought it was cool, the progression's fine, and it has a lot of potential for hopefully future series, because I do like this type of style. I love the sci-fi genre, and I don't feel that there's enough of it, and we're starting to get some more from Netflix, which is fantastic. And of course you can obviously stream it right at this point, and yeah,